think it's a great day to be a libertarian, that's for sure. And by golly, first thing Monday morning, I'm going to go down to party headquarters, get an application form, and join the party. Thank you. I never can remember that number. I have a very short memory, so I'll probably ask you again in about 5 minutes. You have been so kind to me, so kind to Pamela, so kind to all the people on our staff that I don't know how to thank you. All I can tell you is that I am proud, I am humbled, I am honored at what you have given me, and I want you to know that this is one of the proudest, if not the proudest days in my life. We're behind you. And it is with a great sense of excitement and energy and anticipation that I proudly accept your nomination to be your presidential candidate. As a matter of fact, I would like to spend the whole 3 hours of my speech just thanking you, thanking you. But we have this wonderful opportunity to talk to the folks across America through C-SPAN, and that's what I'd like to do. I would like to pose to the American people 3 important questions. First of all, do you want more government than we have now, less government than we have now, or about what we have now? Pamela and I have been all over this great country of ours. We have asked this question of cab drivers, store clerks, bellmen, people everywhere. And of course, over and over and over again, people come right back with the answer. Oh, I want a lot less government. The government's too big, too intrusive, all this, that, and the other thing. Probably 19 out of 20 people have said they want a lot less government. Not just less, but a lot less. There are exceptions here and there, and there was one that I remember very vividly in Indianapolis in a drugstore. I asked a young girl who was about, I shouldn't say young girl, maybe young woman, 20 years old. And I said, do you want more government than we have now, less government than we have now, or about what we have now? And it seemed like she took a minute to answer the question. She finally said, I guess I want more government. And I said, oh, really? That's interesting, never having heard this answer before. Wondering what she could possibly mean. I said, what is it you want government to do that it isn't doing now? And she said, get all those people off of welfare. The fact is that people everywhere are fed up with government, fed up with politicians, fed up with the two old parties. They, like us, are ready for a credible program that will actually do something for a change to not slow the rate of growth of government, not freeze the government, but to turn around and send it in the other direction as fast as possible to a government a fraction of the size of what we have today. We are not alone. The American people are on our side. We are the mainstream now. The second question I have for the American people, are your taxes too high? Are they too low? Or are they just about right? Well, I've asked this question of a lot of people too, and you'd probably be amazed to find out that I haven't yet run across anybody who thinks that he is undertaxed. I read it occasionally among columnists, journalists, and so forth, but I haven't found it anywhere in reality. People... thank you for calling attention to the humor of my own words. People everywhere are sick to death of a wasteful, extravagant, oppressive government that drains their substance at the expense of our own families. They are sick of it and they are ready for a change. But let's move on to the third question, the most important question perhaps. Government really is good at one thing. Government doesn't work at delivering the mail on time, it doesn't keep the city safe, it doesn't educate our children properly, but government is good at one thing. It knows how to cripple you and then hand you a crutch and say, see, if it weren't for the government, you wouldn't be able to walk. And that's exactly what government has done to people all over America. Put them on the dole and then said, see, you couldn't survive if it weren't for the government. If you didn't get that check every month, if you didn't get that farm subsidy or that student loan, you'd never be able to do the things that you're able to do today. It would be impossible to get along without this big, extravagant government. Oh yes, people say they want smaller government, but they don't want to give up the services that government provides. We've heard that over and over again. But there is a way about this. And that's why the third question I want to ask the American people is just simply this. Would you give up your favorite federal programs if it meant you never again had to pay income tax? You to give up your check from the federal government in exchange for nothing. We are not going to make little cuts and nicks and so on in the budget here and there the way the Republicans tried to do without offering you anything in return. We are going to give you something. We know how to spread goodies too, but our goodies are we are going to give you your own money back. We are going to give you your freedom back. We are going to give you your life back. And as a result, and there is nothing vague about this whatsoever. As David said, I have spelled it all out in this book, Why Government Doesn't Work. I have put in here exactly what we're going to get rid of. I've put in there exactly how we're going to do it, how we're going to get from here to there. The Republicans love to talk about getting back to the 10th Amendment or smaller government or all of this, but they never give you any specifics. They never lay out a program. And I'd like to make a challenge right here and now to journalists in this country. When Bob Dole says he's going to dust off the 10th Amendment, when he says we need to get back to the Constitution, ask him. I want journalists to ask him, well, does that mean you're going to get the federal government out of everything that isn't specified in the Constitution, as the 10th Amendment says? Does this mean you're going to get the federal government completely out of welfare, completely out of education, completely out of housing, transportation, crime control, regulation, agriculture, health care? That's what the Constitution says. There's no authority for any of those things in the Constitution. Is that what you mean, Bob Dole, when you make these statements? Well, just in case there's any doubt, that's what we mean when we say we want to get back to the Constitution. Simple. We want the federal government out of your life, out of it entirely. We want you to have your life back. We want you to have your earnings back. We want every dollar that you make to be yours, to spend, to save, to give away as you see fit, not as some bureaucrat decides, not as the politicians decide, to drain it away from you, dump half of it in the Atlantic Ocean, and then dole the rest of it back to you as though you were some child on an allowance. That's your money, you earned it. Politicians love to talk about family values. Oh boy, that's a winner. Oh, we've got to get back to real moral values in this country. We've got to get back to the family. We've got to be able to let families take care of themselves and so on. Well, Mr. Dole and Mr. Clinton, if you're listening, and I hope you are, let me issue a little challenge to you. If you really do care about family values, then repeal the federal income tax and let families have the resources to take care of their own values, not yours. Yes, Americans want smaller government. Yes, Americans want lower taxes. Yes, Americans want what we want. And what we want are huge spending cuts now. Huge tax cuts now. A balanced budget now. And to them we say, please heed the words of Nancy Reagan and just say now. I don't want there to be any misunderstanding. I'm not telling you that everyone out in America thinks about these things exactly the same way we do. Obviously they don't. But then again, we don't all agree on everything. In fact, I'm not sure we agree on anything, except for individual liberty, personal responsibility, and freedom from government on all issues at all times. These are the things that Americans want, but it doesn't mean that they imagine all the finish line the same way we do, that they see the goal in exactly the same way, that they imagine the same kind of government that you do. But then neither do we. You may not even agree on the final goal of all of this with a person sitting right next to you. As a matter of fact, I would guess there probably are people in this room that if I asked you what size should the federal budget be, there are people in this room who would answer 0. There are also in this room, right here in this room, there are probably people who think that the federal budget ought to be $700, $800, $900. So even we don't agree on everything. I mean, if we can be $900 apart, then we ought to tolerate a little difference with the American people too. And I think they'll tolerate a little difference with us. The important thing among us, and the important thing between us and the American people, and among all of them, is that we all want to move in the same direction. And it isn't the direction we're going today. It is the direction to a government much, much, much smaller than where we are now. And we can quit arguing about the destination until we get a lot closer to it. And when we get closer to it, let me make you a promise right here and now. When we get the federal government down to, say, $100 billion or so, and we get the federal government to live by the Constitution so that it doesn't do anything that's not in the Constitution, and then we're going to start worrying about what we're going to do from there, I will personally head up a fundraising effort to rent the Super Bowl for one solid year, and we can all get there and argue endlessly about where we're going from there.